outside of his top 5 of all time, but he said that LeBron is ranked 10th. Kenny attributed it to how scoring is now easier, and it's hard to evaluate today's game against the previous greats. So, Shannon, are you surprised that Kenny ranked LeBron so low?
He finds it hard to evaluate current players against the greats of the past, but somehow he did it. I don't know how he's able to do that, Skip. He found it very hard. You know, Skip, I don't think there's a fan or a expert that says LeBron James is currently the 10th best player all time in the history of the NBA. I just find that very hard to believe. A guy that's tied for the 4th most MVPs, the 2nd most final MVPs, the 3rd most All-Star games, the most All-NBA, the most NBA first team, 6-time defensive player, 6 all defensive teams. And Kenny mentioned his podcast. He got Kareem, MJ, Oscar, Bill Russell, Wilt, Shaq, Magic, Bird, all in his top 10. But LeBron is the 10th best player of that group. He's talking about, well, it's easier to score. Is that all LeBron does? LeBron rebounds. He assists the ball. And he's like, well, any of those players, Shaq played in that era. Shaq didn't go to 8 straight finals, and he had Kobe. So when he had a guy that you mentioned, and there's 2 of those guys together that you got, and they don't go to 8 straight finals, what's going on? I need to know why. Magic, you got Magic and Kareem. There are 2 guys on that team that you got in your top 10, and they didn't go to 10 straight. 8 straight. They only went to what, 3 straight? I think they went 85. No, they went 85. They went 85. No, they went 80. Skip, 81. Bird won 82, 83, 84. So, Skip, the thing is, it's not that easy. What I see, Skip, and we talk about this a lot with football, if you played in an era, it's hard to let that era go and say another era is better. Skip, I played in the era. If you look at, I got like 8, 9, 10 guys on the 100th anniversary team, from LT to Reggie to Bruce Smith, Ray Lewis, Joe Montana, Elway, Marino, Rod Woodson, Ed Reed. So, Skip, I was like, man, I'm feeling good. I don't know, ain't nobody. I don't care who, from Jim Brown's era to right now, ain't nobody. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, all of them I played against that era. So I'm saying I got the best era ever. And I think that's what Kenny's holding on to. Kenny came up in the 80s. So it's hard for him to let Bird, Magic, Mike, it's hard for him to let that go. But the guys are better now. The guys are better athletes now. They do this full time. They take care of their bodies better now. They eat better now. They lift more now. Skip, it's just the athlete is just better. That's why you see the times and what guys are able to do. Man, for LeBron James not to be but the 10th best player, I just want to see a general. I need somebody other than, because Kenny Smith is the same guy that said LeBron James is unathletic. First game of the season, guy averaging 25, 10, and 8.
He said that Kawhi Leonard tonight made him look unathletic.
So one game, you based that on one game?
He did.
So how did he look now? After he said that, how does he look right now?
Okay, but what had LeBron just done? What he had just witnessed? And he was there at the game. They were live at the game. What happened in the 4th quarter?
Any evaluators, any coaches says if you only evaluate a player by one game, you'll make... That's what, isn't that what you tell me about great players?
You know, the definition of television can be prisoner of moment. It's what we do.
No, I ain't no prisoner.
And he sat up there. Their perch was up there at the top in Staples Center in the first deck, you know. And he watched it. And remember, it's 85 all going to the 4th quarter. And LeBron ended up scoring 2 points. And his new partner scored 0 points. Anthony Davis scored 0. And Kawhi took the game over down the stretch. And they won pretty handily.
You expect fans, not guys that play the game at a high level, that follow the game, that study the game, not to become prisoner of the moment.
Okay, but what did we just watch? A whole season in which LeBron James went 29 and 28 as a starter for the Lakers the previous year. And we had the blooper tape that we showed, and he did start to look like age was catching up.
Was it age or the growing?
Huh?
Was it age or the groin?
I don't know, but it was one or both. But he did come back from the groin and didn't look much better than pre-groin.
Hashtag revenge season.
Well, that's what he said. Continues soon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I actually, the last time we did an all-time top 10 ranking, I actually had LeBron 9th. So, I actually value LeBron a little bit more than Kenny Smith does. Allow me to say this about Kenny Smith. I've had him on shows before. I watch him almost religiously on TNT. Nobody can break down tape live on national TV any better than Kenny Smith can. I think he is a brilliant basketball analyst as far as X's and O's and breaking down game tape. And I believe that Kenny Smith knows what he is watching. And if he says LeBron ranks 10th, I respect that. Again, I have him.
Oh, yeah, this is opinion.
And again, to your point, I'm going to give you this because of the era Kenny played in. And he played at a fair, he wasn't a superstar.
Right.
He was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he played on championship teams.
Yes.
So he gets it. He knows it. He played at the school you love and the tradition you love the most, North Carolina. And he was, again, not a star, but a very good player on both levels, college and pro. So he's not just an analyst. He played, and I believe he really gets it. And so when I look at this list, there's no way to me, and I don't want to just beat this all to death again because we just went through The Last Dance, watching it on ESPN. But in just sheer killer will, LeBron does not have that Michael Jordan had. Okay. That's just me. So that separates those two. That's why I have Jordan number 1. That's also why I have Kobe and Larry Bird, your favorite player as a kid. I have them in the 2 slots just ahead of LeBron on my list. I got Kobe 7, Larry Bird 8. And it's because of that thing, that killer will, that drive, that clutchness, that thing where that refused to lose. I think they had it stronger than LeBron has it. Not to say that LeBron isn't all-time gifted in so many ways, one of the great passers ever, a great scorer. He always says, I'm not a scorer. He can roll out of bed and get you 28 or 30 just pretty easily. It's almost like you watch the game, you say, he got 30? Wow. And yet, I have 4 centers ranked up in the middle of my list. I go Shaq, Kareem, Tim Duncan, and Bill Russell. And by the way, Tim Duncan was a center. I don't care which you call him the greatest power forward. He's 7 feet tall. I'm sorry, and he's long, and he plays center.
Skip, I think if David Robinson hadn't been there, they would have referred to him as a center. But because he
was there for a minute, and then Tim Duncan was there for a long time.
Well, he won 2 championships with.
I got it.
Yeah.
But once Tim took over the team,
he played the 5. He played the 5.
He just played the 5, and so I can't do best power forward ever. No, he's the 5. So I have those in a row, and then that leaves my number 2 position. Just in winners and tangibles, there's never been anything like Magic Johnson to me. So that's why I have him in the 2 slot. So then we look at the flip side of this. And again, I don't want to just pound on this day and night here on the show, but LeBron has had way more epic fails, in my view, than any of these players ranked above him on this list suffered in their careers. Because, again, he did get swept by the Spurs. You could say they have 3 Hall of Famers, but this was the best player on the planet. He got swept by the Spurs. And then 2009 came, and he hit the shot heard round the world in Game 2 at home against Orlando and Dwight Howard. And then he ends up losing Games 4, 5, and 6. And then the next year, Boston. Here we go again in the playoffs, and he has one of the greatest games of his career in Game 3 at Boston, and then he winds up losing 4, 5, and 6, and his owner accuses him of quitting in those games, and some of his insiders from his camp leaked the story that he had to be sedated before each of those games because of an internal team issue. Okay, which leads us to the decision. I'm taking my talents to South Beach, and his first finals with the Heat, 2011 against Dallas. They go up 2-1 at Dallas, and reportedly, LeBron went back to his hotel room and started making a list of, I'm going to tell these people so. And according to the reports, I was at the top of the list. And then he shrank. Games 4, 5, and 6. I thought he melted down in the way I'd never seen a superstar just melt down, just freeze up. And the first game was pathetic. He scored 8 points in Game 4, and it didn't get much better from that point on. And we all agreed, I think, boy, chosen one became the frozen one. Okay, these are epic fails. And then they break through against the Thunder, and LeBron was he's the MVP. Way to go. It's about damn time, he said after that game. But then if Ray Allen doesn't hit the greatest clutch shot I've ever seen, They lose that game in that championship. But again, LeBron was coming apart down the stretch. He had 3 turnovers in the last 3 minutes and 2 in the last 1 minute.
But they were down. But Skip,
okay.
but let me ask you,
I know he did good things also,
yeah.
but there was some epic fail going on.
But you mentioned that LeBron got swept and he's gotten swept twice. Did you know Magic and Kareem got swept in '83? Magic got swept again by Detroit. Kareem got swept.
Okay, but when Magic got swept, he pulled his hamstring, and Byron pulled his hamstring in game number 1.
How was his hamstring in '83 when Moses Malone swept him?
Well,
him and Kareem.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
And what happens if Magic doesn't hit that baby hook? Now all of a sudden.
Okay, but he hit it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Byron hit it.
But he hit it. That's my thing. But you remember in '84 what happened when Magic dribbled out the time?
He did.
And they didn't call it
Tragic Johnson.
Oh, would you consider that an epic fail?
Yep, I could, but did he not right the wrong against Larry Bird?
Oh,
did he not beat him 3 times in finals?
Hold up.
Yeah.
Did he right the wrong against the Thunder? Did he right the wrong against Tim Duncan? Did he right the wrong against the
I don't know if he did, but then what happened in 2014? They get blown off the floor by a record finals margin. And remember game 1? He cramps. Nobody else cramped except LeBron James. He scores 2 points in the fourth quarter. You realize they're up 4 in game 1 going to the fourth quarter at San Antonio, and he cramps.
What did that let you know?
Huh.
He was the guy, right?
Okay. And then what happened in game 1, 2018 at Oakland? He has the greatest shooting night of his career that he refuses to shoot the last shot. He's got Steph on him and won't just pull up and shoot an 18
Because that's not Skip.
Okay, but it's just what you have to do. It's what everybody does if you're that guy.
No, you do what you do. That's not what he is. He's not a just pull the ball up from 18 and shoot over the top of somebody.
So then JR, obviously, first George Hill missed his second free throw. JR